Hey, hey, hey. Welcome into Fantasy Filmball, the show where we turn movies into sports and sports into something we don't talk about here. My name is Matt.
And my name is Dyl, and today we are continuing with our 2023 Fantasy Filmball Oscar Madness. And we are all the way down to the Sweet 16 because we just had our round of 32 and we had some pretty interesting results. We had 2 votes come down to nearly a tie, with some edging out very much at the end, and there were some blowouts. But Matt, we have 16 films left. Which one just really stands out to you the most? Like, wow, I'm surprised that's still around.
Something I guess that is a little bit weird to me is Navalny winning over Black Panther Wakanda Forever. That's definitely one that stands out to me as, wow, that's a pretty surprising result. But otherwise, most stuff makes sense. I guess I'm a little bit surprised that we're in this top 16 and Bones and All and Triangle of Sadness are still here. But that said, seeing as what they've been up against, I'm not too surprised based on that. And to be honest, I think that this is the last round for both of those movies.
Yeah, I had the same reaction at first because especially Bones and All is a movie that you don't think a lot of people love, but when you look at what it's gone against, like you said, Causeway, Corsage, it makes sense to get past those. Banshees is its first real test, so that Cinderella run is coming to an end because if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that Bones and All is the lowest remaining seed alive at the 47 seed. But that looks like, as we both said, it's coming to a close. The next lowest after that, I think, I'm just going through here, is Marcel the Shell at the 28 seed going against Pinocchio. So who knows? Maybe that Cinderella run can continue into the Elite 8.
So let's go over the matchups we have. We've only got 8 matchups at this point because there's 16 films remaining. So I think it wouldn't hurt to talk about each of these and see what we think the odds are in each of their favors. So the first matchup we have here is Everything Ever All at Once versus After Sun. This one feels pretty obvious, right? But I do know After Sun has its huge mega fans. But I think this is Everything Everywhere, right?
I would say so as well because I feel like the people who love both are going to maybe split, but then there's more people who love Everything Everywhere compared to After Sun. So I feel like even if the people who love like After Sun, Everything, it's like their number 1, number 2, there's more people who have Everything Everywhere higher than After Sun overall. But like you said, these are 2 movies that have just completely obliterated every person they've gone against so far.
I think After Sun would probably win most other matchups this round. It's a shame that it's up against Everything Everywhere because we could honestly see this in the next round. If it was up against something like The Fabelmans or Babylon or Top Gun, but I think the buck stops here when you're up against Everything Ever All at Once.
100%. And as you mentioned, Fabelmans, that is our next matchup here in the Sweet 16. Fabelmans, Women Talking. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is her only... No, we have another one. But this is one of 2 Best Picture matchups that we have in this round. And at least on paper, it makes more sense for Fabelmans to win here. But I feel like more people have Women Talking higher in their overall ranking. But Fabelmans is probably more consistently in a more viewed film.
I think I agree with you. I think Women Talking is probably the one that's going to win here. I think that there's more passion for that film. I think it's really connected with people. And I think that our viewers might be more likely to go for that one. So I'm going to tip Women Talking in that matchup. Fingers crossed. I love both films, but I would love to see Women Talking go the next round.
And then we get a very interesting matchup here. Top Gun Maverick, Babylon. You have 2 just very polar opposite type movies that also share stuff in common. There's people who love these movies. There's people who hate these movies. And I honestly think what this is going to come down to is just which movie is more hated between the 2. Because I don't feel like many people can go out of their way to be like, oh yeah, I love this or I love that over the other one. It's just like, I really don't like Maverick, so I want Babylon. Or I really don't like Babylon, so give me Maverick.
Both films have their fans, but I think Top Gun is maybe more widely liked, because Babylon has a lot of very passionate detractors. I'm going to say Top Gun wins this. I think it's probably a pretty easy win for Top Gun here. The Babylon Hive, the people that love Babylon, really love Babylon, but Top Gun, I think most people would say that they at least like. And the next matchup we have is the Battle of Animation. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On versus Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. I'm sad to see one of these films go. I think Pinocchio is going to beat Marcel the Shell, but I could see this matchup going either way.
Yeah, I think I may disagree with you with both of these. I think Babylon does upset Maverick here. I think specifically in
Really?
our demographic of people who are probably watching this channel, I feel like they would probably sway more Babylon than Maverick. But I say that, and Babylon is one of the 2 movies that barely edged out the last round going against the menu. So I don't know. Maybe combats there a little bit. But I also think, just going off of the stuff we have to look at based off of our Discord's awards, Marcel does a little bit better there than Pinocchio does. So I feel like, looking at least on a very small scale, Marcel may edge it out, but when we open it up wider to people who could see this, whether it's on Reddit or see this just on YouTube, I think that would sway more towards Pinocchio. So I think I may actually agree with you and go Pinocchio here.
I could see this round going either way, but Top Gun versus Babylon, I can only see that going to Top Gun. I just don't think Babylon will have enough passion to push it over the edge.
So, speaking of passion, we have that very low seed of Bones and All, the 47, making it here against Banshees of Inisherin, and I think the road ends here. This may be our biggest blowout of the round.
I know that's not going to make you very happy, because Bones and All is one of your favorite films of the year, but I think that it's just clear that this is going to go down this round. Unfortunately, I think Bones and All does deserve better than to be completely swept by Banshees of Inisherin. But the round after that is Avatar: The Way of Water versus Triangle of Sadness, and I think this is a very tough matchup, because I think both of these movies would lose pretty much any other matchup here.
See, you mentioned the I'm going to feel sad for Bones and All. I won't feel sad as long as Way of Water does triumph here.
I know you're a big fan of Avatar: The Way of Water. My vote is going to go to Triangle of Sadness. That said, both of them are worthy. I think if it was left to most other people, both of these films would be eliminated in favor of something like After Sun, for example, which is getting crushed by Everything Ever All at Once.
This is our other Best Picture matchup that we have here in this round. And the only Best Picture nominee not to make it into the Sweet 16 is my beloved Elvis, as it went down last round. But moving on to one of the most interesting matchups, because I can see this going in 2 very different directions. We had the 3 seed of All Quiet on the Western Front going against the 19 seed of The Batman. And The Batman has taken down some big movies so far. It took down Nope, it took down Glass Onion, and now All Quiet is in its path to get it to the Elite 8. Matt, which side are you leaning towards here?
I think Batman takes this. I think that All Quiet just has a very strong base of people that really don't like that movie. This is one where I can see it going either direction. But that said, I am kind of riding with Batman on this one.
Well, I love to hear, because I am also predicting and voting for Batman in this round. And that brings us to our last matchup of the Sweet 16. We have the Juggernaut Tar going against Navalny, which, as Matt mentioned before, is making a little run. It beat Moon Age Daydream, it beat Wakanda Forever, and now it is the only documentary still around here in the Sweet 16.
This one's so obvious. It's Tar, and whatever wins the previous matchup between All Quiet and the Batman, it's getting taken down by Tar as well. So that's what we're going to see here, is just a total frickin' blowout for Tar. But before we go on and wrap this up, who's in the lead for the predictions contest right now?
I'm glad that you asked, because I am technically tied for first place, but there's a tiebreaker where I am losing at the moment. Floor is out there in first place with 119 total points. They did better the round of 60 than me, but I did better in the round of 32. And as I've mentioned in previous weeks, the points, they get more worthwhile the further we go into the bracket. So you could be a little bit further down the bracket, but if you have a perfect Sweet 16, a perfect Elite 8, you'll jump right up to the top. Because I have a potential max out at 61 correct, but Floor, the reason why they're ahead of me is they have a potential max of 62 out of 67 correct. So it's a pretty tight race. The big thing to look at here going into the Elite 8, Floor's Final 4, Everything Everywhere, Banshees, Top Gun, Tar. My Final 4, Everything Everywhere, Banshees, Babylon, Tar. So the Babylon Top Gun is probably be the difference between me and Floor going into the next round.
But we're going to have to see what goes on in that next round. I'm definitely very, very excited to see it. Make sure you guys go and vote. You can vote right down below in the description. We've linked the game and we've linked the voting form. Make sure you get down there and frickin' vote like your life depends on it. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Matt.
My name is Dyl, and this is Fantasy Filmball.